Let's start a confession. We throw around the phrase critical thinking like it's a personality trait. She's a critical thinker. He lacks critical thinking. As if it's eye color, height, or something that you just got lucky with. But that's nonsense. Critical thinking is not a trait. It's a practice, a discipline, and increasingly a differentiator between people who are steering their lives and people who are being dragged behind them. Today is the flag we're putting in the ground about what critical thinking actually is and why it matters more now than ever. How to do it without becoming cynical or paralyzed, and how everything else that we're going to sprinkle throughout the year, cognitive biases, logical fallacies, media literacy, leadership decisions, they all hang off of this foundation. So let's clear up the biggest misunderstanding right away. Critical thinking is not just being a contrarian, as fun as that might be sometimes. It's not being skeptical of everything. While you should skeptically evaluate things, being skeptical of everything is a slippery slope. It doesn't mean you're the smartest person in the room, even though you might feel like it. And it doesn't mean that you're going to win every argument. Those things aren't critical thinking. They are noise with confidence. Critical thinking is the disciplined process of asking better questions, evaluating claims based on evidence and logic, and recognizing uncertainty when it's in the room. And finally, resisting the urge to accept comforting stories too quickly. Here's the simplest working definition. Critical thinking is the ability to slow your thinking down enough to notice when you're being fooled, either by yourself, as Richard Feynman likes to say, or by what you're reading, seeing, somebody sharing with you. There has never been a time in human history when information was more abundant, incentives were more distorted, and confidence was less correlated with accuracy. We don't live in an information economy anymore. We live in an attention economy. And attention rewards. Simplicity over accuracy, emotion over nuance, and certainty over humility. I'm sure you've seen this. Critical thinking is your immune system. Without it, every rage cycle, every headline, every expert take gets direct access to your nervous system. This is why critical thinking isn't just academic. It's modern day survival gear. So let's do a gentle reality check. Your brain did not evolve to be accurate. It evolved to be efficient. That means it relies on shortcuts, patterns, heuristics. Most of the times that's useful. But under pressure, uncertainty, or identity threat, those shortcuts turn into blind spots. This is where two important categories come into play: cognitive biases and logical fallacies. Cognitive biases are predictable ways our thinking skews without us noticing. And logical fallacies are errors in reasoning that sound persuasive but don't actually hold up. These aren't flaws unique to other people either. These are factory settings built in. We have to work against them. Critical thinking will not eliminate them. It just helps you notice sooner when they're happening to you. So first, cognitive biases. An example, confirmation bias. We talked about this last year, but this is where we notice information that supports what we already believe. We dismiss information that challenges it and call that being informed. This is why two intelligent people can look at the same data and walk away more convinced that they're right. Critical thinking asks a dangerous question. What would have to be true for me to be wrong? Most people never ask this. It's time you do. And how? How about a logical fallacy? Let's take false cause. Just because two things happen close together does not mean that one caused the other. Post hoc reasoning is another term for this. Critical thinking is going to say, that's an interesting correlation, but show me the mechanism. If you can't explain how something works, slow down before you believe that it works. Now let's try to apply this to the real world. Imagine you're a leader. You have a team and you see their performance declining. The easy story? Oh, they're disengaged. They don't care. People don't want to work anymore. Oh, those millennials. That story feels good. It fits a narrative that you might have. It protects your ego. It assigns blame outward instead of on you. Critical thinking is going to force you to pause and say, well, what else has changed? What incentives are in play for that kind of behavior? Are there clearly defined roles and responsibilities? Are there feedback loops? A critical thinker resists the first satisfying explanation and gathers disconfirming evidence. Think about that for a second. Looking for disconfirming evidence. Same data, different outcome. One leader doubles down and burns trust. Another adjusts the system and improves performance. The difference isn't intelligence. It's the quality of the thinking, the quality of the questions, the ability to interpret. Let's take another example. Common in health, fitness, and more. The headline says, new study proves X causes Y. Critical thinker is going to first ask, how's the study funded? What was actually measured? What if I go beyond the abstract? Is this correlation or causation? Is this absolute risk or relative risk? Do I even know what those things mean? And what was not reported and why? Most people will share the headline. Most people will then hit share on the headline that somebody else has shared. Some people argue about it. Very few interrogate it. Critical thinking doesn't require you being an expert. It requires you having some constraint, the ability to go learn what it is you don't know, and the ability to say that I don't know enough yet to make a judgment call. That is wildly underrated. Now, how do you practice critical thinking without becoming a curmudgeon? Now, this matters because it's real. Curmudgeonness, that is. Critical thinking is not about becoming cynical or suspicious of everything, even though it will sound like that at times. It's about developing an intellectual posture. So a few practices. Slow down emotionally charged information. Separate facts from interpretations. Ask compared to what when something comes up. And ask according to whom when something is posted. And look for incentives behind the claims. And maybe the hardest one, be willing to update your beliefs without making it a referendum on your identity. When people question your beliefs, do you take it personally? Or can you separate the belief criticism from your identity? That might require some work, but that is real strength. So setting up the year ahead, we're going to explore multiple logical fallacies, some of them again, cognitive biases, decision quality, leadership under uncertainty, media literacy, strategy, and systems thinking. All of those things rest on this foundation of critical thinking. Ultimately, critical thinking is not going to make your life simpler, but it will make it more honest. And honesty is the price of progress. This is the lens. Everything else builds from here. I'll see you along the way.